Here's how to play High King Peter from Narnia in Dungeons & Dragons as a fighter. You got to put High King on his name because he's not just king, he's High King. Edmund's king, Peter's High King. You got to put respect on his name, right? If you want to go close to the books, this is how you do it. As a fighter, you get Action Surge, Second Wind, Extra Attack, and Indomitable. Action Surge, you get another action as part of your turn because you just built different. You just do that. Second Wind, you get a little bit of healing for yourself. You're magnificent. You can't go down. That's not very magnificent. Extra attack, you get 2 swings at 5th level, 3 at 11th level, and 4th at 20th level. Man's just moving strong, moving fast. You got to move fast. And then Indomitable, you get to re-roll a saving throw once at 5th, twice at 13th, and thrice at 17th. You can't go fireball. You got to be able to dodge that. You got to be Indomitable. You got to be magnificent. All right, man's just built different. He goes toe-to-toe with the White Witch, basically a demon. And when Lucy watched the battle, she was like, it looked like he had 3 swords. I don't know if you've noticed this. Peter's a human. Humans have 1 arm for the shield, right? You can't just get bashed in the face. You need a shield. Second hand, sword. What's he doing? Putting a sword in his teeth? No. Why would he do that? He's a guy. He's just moving that fast. He's just built different. You lead a campaign in the north against some giants. You only have 1 giant in your army and you win? How do you do that? You just got to be built different. That's basically the answer. Peter's just built different. And he's basically just the best swordsman we know of in Narnia. For fighting style, you're going to go protection. I don't know if you've noticed this. Peter in front, his sisters behind. Easy, just protection. You're going to give disadvantage to attacks on somebody within 5 feet of you. Peter likes to keep his friends close, and he wants to keep them from being mauled by wolves. Now, I don't know if you noticed this, but if you tell your mom, hey, yeah, I went to a magical wardrobe and my sisters got mauled by wolves, I don't know how you explain that to your mom in the middle of World War II. I don't know how you do that. So that's just what you should do. For subclass, you might be like, he's a champion. He's still basic. Wrong. Peter is not basic. He's a banneret. He's here to inspire. He's here to lead. Banneret's your way to go. For Banneret, you're going to get Rallying Cry. You're going to get Royal Envoy, Inspiring Surge, and Bulwark. Rallying Cry, when you use Second Wind, your siblings get to heal. 3 people, they get to heal equal to your fighter level. Helps to not have to explain mauled by wolves in World War II. Pretty easy. Royal Envoy, you get to grab the persuasion skill. You've been king for a while, you got to know how to talk to people. It's basically just a lot of the job. That's most of the job. Inspiring Surge, if you're going to be magnificent, you got to be inspiring. And when you use Action Surge, it allows somebody else to use their reaction to hit somebody else. If you're moving so fast that people think there are 3 swords in your hand, it's pretty easy for Edmund to just come up from behind and just go, bop. And that's just how that works. Bulwark, when you use Indomitable, you get to allow somebody else who failed a saving throw of the mental variety, like Wisdom, Intelligence, or Charisma, to re-roll. Hopefully they do better. You know, you not going down is going to inspire them to not go down. Just be built different. Easy. It's just a skill issue. For skills, you're going to grab Athletics. Peter was said to be barrel-chested by Lewis in his later years. I don't know what else that says, except he's probably proficient in Athletics. Persuasion, but since you already grabbed that as part of Banneret, you can also grab Insight or Animal Handling, whichever you want to do. It's your character. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not your DM. You do what you want to do. You're then going to grab Religion. Peter is well aware of the going on in Narnia. He basically fought the devil. I think he might know a thing or two about. And then you're also going to grab Intimidation. Even before Peter was king, he was scaring Edmund into compliance. That's easy. Easy money. For feats, you got some options, assuming you put your stats in the right order. You're going to grab Prodigy to grab expertise in either athletics or persuasion, whichever way you want to go. Grab an extra language. I would say Sylvan. A lot of your subjects are Fey creatures. That's easy. Grab Sylvan so you can talk to them in their native tongue, right? You want to be an inspiring king. Easy money. Celestial. Aslan probably speaks Celestial. He's a celestial person. He's a god. He's basically Jesus. It's fine. Grab Celestial. Or Giant. Giant's probably insulted you a lot when you're on your campaign in the north. Easy to grab that language. Maybe you want to say back. I don't know. You do what you want. And you also get to grab Smith's tools. Make sure your stuff doesn't break during your campaign against the giants up north or any other campaign that you happen to find yourself in as Peter. Next, you will grab Athlete, the feat. Again, barrel tested. Easy. I want to grab Fighting Initiate. Also, grab Dueling, Defense, another fighting style. In those early years, he did a lot. Might as well grab another one. Easy. And then last, inspiring leader. You're magnificent. Inspiring is just magnificence in action. You inspire people. Easy. But maybe you're sitting there, I don't want to play fighter. I've already played fighter. I don't want to play as a fighter. Don't worry. I got Paladin. It's closer to the movies. As a Paladin, you get Divine Sense, Lay on Hands, some spell casting, Divine Smite, Divine Health, Aura of Protection, and Aura of Courage, Improved Divine Smite, and Cleansing Touch. With Divine Sense, you get to detect the witch's allies, any fae, celestial, or fiends, or undead within 30 feet of you. You get to know where they are. Lay on Hands, you get 5 times your Paladin level as healing, as just an action. You just, boom, 100 hit points right there at level 20. Easy. Best healing you got. With spellcasting, you're a half caster, so you get up to 5th level spell slots, but really you're a Paladin. Why are you casting spells? Instead, you should be smiting. We like smite. Smite, you get to add an extra 2d8 divine smite damage on your attacks. And if you want to go higher to like 2nd level, 3rd level, 4th level, you get another d8 on there. You out here slaying. You throwing it down. For divine smite, easy. Divine Health, you are immune to disease. You don't have a sick day. You're High King Peter the Magnificent. You don't have sick days. That's not a PTO thing. You're a king. You can't have sick days. Extra attack, you get 2 attacks at 5th level. You're not fighter. You don't get 4. You just get 2. Besides, you're still tanking it with Divine Smite. And then Order of Protection, you get to add your Charisma modifier to any saving throws that you make or anybody within 10 feet of you. Or, when you're 18th level, 30 feet of you. You're just out here inspiring people just to be built different like you. For Aura of Courage, you're immune to frightened and people around you. You can't be scared as Peter. Come on, you're High King Peter. You can be like, oh no, it's the witch. You'd be like, nah, man, we standing on business right here. Let's go. Me and you, witch, let's go. Just be like that. Improved Divine Smite, you get to add 1d8 radiant damage to all weapon attacks. You're always smiting. You're always packing. Rhindon, it's always packing. It's a magic sword from Santa. Come on. And then lastly, you get Cleansing Touch. As an action, you get to basically dispel magic, which is pretty freaking great. For fighting style for this build, you're going to grab Dueling. Get a +2 to damage rolls for weapons you wield in one hand. Rhindon, again, it's a great sword. You got to be wielding it in one hand, though. Then for Oath, go Devotion. Peter is the most Devotion Paladin that's ever Devotion Paladin. He is the good big brother. Look at him. Peter, Lucy, that's a good big brother right there. He is Devotion in a character study. Easy. For Devotion, you get 2 Channel Divinities, Sacred Weapon, and Turn the Unholy. You then get an extra aura of Devotion, Purity of Spirit, and Holy Nimbus. For Sacred Weapon, you get to add your Charisma modifier to the damage roll of your sword. Just gets you more damage. And then Turn the Unholy, you get to turn any fiends or undead within 30 feet of you with a failed wisdom save. So they are running for the hills when the witch goes down. For your Aura of Devotion, your aura makes everybody else immune to the charmed condition. You can't have your soldiers be like, oh, hey, the witch. No. You're like, hey, man, we ain't doing that. We're here to kick butt, all right? What are you doing? Purity of Spirit, you always have protection from good and evil on. So even if she does turn one of your guys, doesn't matter. You have protection of good and evil on. You're good. Then with your Capstone Holy Nimbus, you unleash holy power and basically become a small sun. You really just walk the way of Aslan and just become a small sun. Anybody within 10 feet of you or 30 feet of you is going to take 10 points of radiant damage, just no save, no nothing. You get radiant damage. And then you also have advantage on any spells made by fiends or undead. I don't know how your DM would classify the White Witch. She's a demon, all right? That's easy money. She's a fiend, demon, easy. You get advantage on spells that she casts. For skills, you're going to want to grab first Animal Handling. Peter regularly rides horses and unicorns. That's going to be the skill that you're going to need. Next, you're going to grab Insight. You got to know who to trust. Mr. Beaver was just obviously, objectively the correct answer. Athletics. You fight an older man who has the height and weight advantage on you. You got to just be built different. You got to be athletic to do that. And then finally, you're going to grab Persuasion. You talk people into ideas literally all the time, but it's just mostly Susan apparently saying, but he knows the fawn, was easy enough to get her on board the first time. For feats, you got a few options. Defensive Duelist is what I would go with first. Hear me out. Peter doesn't get hit a whole lot, but he loses his shield pretty regularly. You got to be able to defend. Defensive Duelist does give you that with the reaction. Next feat, go Mounted Combatant. He regularly fights on horseback. He gets on the back of a griffin to sneak into the Telmarine castle. His first battle's on horseback. He trains with Edmund on horseback. Man does a lot of horseback stuff. Next feat, Tough. He has a dislocated shoulder in his fight with Miraz. And Edmund then just puts it back into socket and he just goes, ow. All right, anyway. And then just goes and fights Miraz 5 minutes later. I don't know. He's built tough. And then the last feat, Sentinel. Miraz only got a break because Peter said he could get a break.
Listen, I know it's a stretch. Don't tell me it. Peter locks down his opponents pretty well. It's a good feat. Just let it happen.
Now for spells, he's a paladin. He doesn't get a whole lot, but these are just some that I would grab. I'd grab Beacon of Hope, Compelled Duel, Crusader's Mantle, Holy Weapon, and Fine Steed. Listen. Fine Steed, I know doesn't give you a unicorn, but maybe you ask your DM. Maybe you say, pretty please, DM, oh merciful God of the Fates. And maybe, just maybe, he says yes. Or she, I don't know. Maybe they say yes. If they say no, just secretly put a horn on your horse. It's totally fine. Nobody needs to know. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I won't say anything. But maybe now you're sitting there, you're like, I didn't want to play a fighter. I didn't want to play a paladin. That's okay. I got a third option for you. Stay tuned for Peter as a cleric. Just let me cook. For Cleric, you only get really 2 features just for your base class. You get your Channel Divinity, Turn Undead, and Destroy Undead. And then the next one you get is also Divine Intervention, where you basically just get to call Aslan. Your Channel Divinity for Turn Undead, you get to do it once per rest. Up until 6th level, you get it twice. And then at 18th level, you get it 3 times. Your Destroy Undead, you're able to use your Channel Divinity to destroy Undead of CR half at 5th level, and then it caps out at CR 4 at level 20. Your Divine Intervention is you basically are just picking up the phone calling Aslan. You roll a percentile die, you hope to get under your level, and if you do, it works. I've yet to see it work, but it does work. And then at level 20, you just call and he's always answering. And so he'll then do something for you. Depends on what you ask. For your Divine Dominion, for Aslan, it's got to be a light cleric. I mean, whenever Aslan shows up out of nowhere, there's always a light association. Rarely is he in the dark or in, the middle of the night. So you got to go easy connection for light. For light domain clerics, you're going to get a bonus cantrip. You're going to get Warding Flare. You're going to get a new Channel Divinity, Radiance of the Dawn. You're going to get Improved Flare, Potent Spellcasting, and then lastly, Corona of Light. For your bonus cantrip, you're going to get the Light Cantrip. I feel like I don't need to explain that. Your Warding Flare, you can use a number of times equal to your Wisdom modifier. For when someone attacks you, you can throw it up, use your reaction to impose disadvantage on that roll. But if they are immune to being blinded, doesn't work. It's kind of like flashlight when you were a kid, just flashlight, and then can't hit you. For your second Channel Divinity, Radiance of the Dawn, you dispel darkness within 30 feet of you, magical or natural, and every hostile creature within 30 feet of you is going to take 2d10 plus your cleric level in radiant damage if they fail con save. Just throwing all the witch's darkness out, and you're like, cool, anyway, light. For 6th level, when you get to your Improved Flare, you can now use it for anybody else within 30 feet of you. So if somebody's trying to attack, Edmund, Susan, Lucy, you're like, no, stop it, get some help. And then you're going to get Potent Spellcasting, which allows you to add your Wisdom modifier to your cantrips. So then, hey, you've always got something reliable with Sacred Flame. Then finally, you're going to get Corona of Light. For a whole minute, you just emit bright light. You become, again, a small sun to where enemies have disadvantage against any spell that does fire or radiant damage. Not just yours. Hint, hint. Wink, wink. Pop off Corona of Light, then throw a fireball. I ain't going to tell anybody. For skills starting out, you're going to grab History. Peter learns a lot of history in his first days in Narnia. Maybe Mr. Beaver taught him a little too much. Maybe now he's proficient. I don't know. Listen, this one, it was a stretch, okay? You could also grab medicine. Aslan, he's a big healer guy. Maybe he taught you how to heal people outside of magic. I don't know. Could do that. That's easy. You want to grab perception. Peter keeps his head on a swivel since he becomes king. You got to make sure nobody's going to come up behind you and just bah! You don't want that to happen. And then animal handling lastly. Peter's a king. Kings ride horses. You got to be able to ride a horse. Also, let's just take a moment here. This is his coronation. Do you see any humans anywhere? Anywhere at all? I'll wait. I don't see any humans. Maybe you should grab animal handling. Starting out, if you got feats, if you got the ability scores for them, I would start out with alert. Keeps your head on the swivel. Keeps people from smacking you in the back of the head. Also I would grab fighting initiate. You still probably need sword fighting. I don't think I can build High King Peter without Rhindon. I feel wrong. I feel like it'd be wrong. And then for the third feat, I'd really go Keen Mind. Listen, Peter is I know, Edmund's more of the strategist, but Peter is really good at thinking on his feet. I mean, think about it. He changes strategies. He's changes plans in the battle with the witch, in the Telmaraine castle, in the Telmaraine battle. Man is flipping on a dime all the time. Since Peter's a cleric, he gets access to a lot more spells. He's got access to 25 different spells plus the subclass stuff. I'm not going to tell you 25 spells. I'm just going to hit you with the highlights, all right? So what I would take for High King Peter as a cleric, I would go Bless, Command, Detect Good and Evil. I grab Augury, switch it out for Divination, switch it out for Commune. Just real easy switching out. Calm Emotions, Beacon of Hope, Spirit Guardians, Control Water, Summon Celestial, Hallow, Holy Weapon, Hero's Feast, Symbol, and Sunburst at the end. That's how I would build Peter as a cleric, but maybe you're sitting there going, I want a fourth option. I want one that's just, it's really out of nowhere. Next, I got High King Peter as a sorcerer. Don't judge me. As a sorcerer, you get 3 things as part of your base class. You get meta magic, which is the bread and butter of every sorcerer. You get magical guidance, and then you also get sorceress restoration at the end. For your meta magic, you're going to get a number of sorcerer points equal to your sorcerer level. So if you're level 5 sorcerer, you get 5 sorcerer points, and you get to use meta magic as part of them. For your meta magic options, here's what I would grab. You're going to want to grab Careful Spell, Quicken Spell, Twin Spell, and then Heighten Spell. For your Careful Spell, you're going to pick a number of creatures equal to your Charisma modifier to automatically succeed on your saving throw. As long as you got a 16 in your Charisma, you can pick all 3 of your siblings. They ain't going to get hit by anything you throw down-ish. For Quicken, you get to cast a spell as a bonus action. That doesn't mean you get to necessarily cast 2 spells in action. That just means you get to Quicken a spell, bonus action, hit him with a cantrip. Or hit him with something else if you want to be spicy about it. Twin Spell, you make a 1-target spell into 2 target spells to hit 2 people. Pretty easy. And then Heighten Spell, you make it harder for enemies to succeed on their saving throws against your spells. Kind of the opposite of Careful Spell. Magical Guidance is optional as part of Tasha, but I felt like it would work really well for High King Peter in this build. You spend a sorcerer point to reroll an ability check or a saving throw. Just really make sure, hey, you're magnificent. Can't be failing. Come on. And then finally for Sorceress Restoration, you get 4 sorcerer points when you roll initiative and you don't have any. Listen, we did not come here for the capstone ability, all right? We came here for the other abilities and the subclass stuff and the spells. We didn't come for anything else. Listen, I thought a lot about the bloodline for this sorcerer build for High King Peter, all right? I think Divine Magic is the best one. All right, listen, maybe when you went through the wardrobe doors, you got magical powers from Aslan because he was like, you know what? You might need some help fighting an evil, wintry demon djinn hybrid lady that gave your brother magical sketchy candy. Just gonna leave that there. As part of Divine Soul, you're going to grab Divine Magic, Favored by the Gods, Empowered Healing, Angelic Form, and Unearthly Recovery. For your Divine Magic, you get to add an extra spell based on your deity or celestial connections alignment. All right, Aslan, obviously, lawful good, so you can either grab Cure Wounds or Bless, your choice. Favored by the Gods, if you fail an ability check or a saving throw, you get an added extra 2d4 before you know the results. Really just easy, push in the right direction. Empowered Healing. Whenever healing is cast within 5 feet of you, you can spend a sorcerer point to reroll any dice for healing. It doesn't necessarily have to be you. You don't even need any healing spells to do this. If you want to stand 5 feet from your cleric and they roll all ones on their cure wounds, spend a sorcerer point. Reroll that stuff. Easy. Next, you get Angelic Form. You use a bonus action to get some wings. Your choice. They can be feathery or they can not be. That's on you, man. You also get 30 feet of fly speed when you do this. Listen, I know Peter doesn't have wings. All right, clearly this man cannot actually fly. This build is out there. Just go with it. All right, just suspension of disbelief here. And then finally, Unearthly Recovery. As a bonus action, you regain up to half of your hit point maximum, which is insane that you can just be like, you know what? I think I'm just going to get back 70 hit points because you felt like it. And then stand up and go, all right, anyway, Meteor Swarm. For skills, you want to grab Arcana. We'll assume Aslan taught you a little bit. Maybe Professor Diggory, look at him, the Chad that he is. Maybe he started tutoring you a little early. Maybe you came across Uncle Andrew's writings that totally now exist. You want to grab next Nature. You spent a lot of time in Narnia. You probably figured it out by now. It might help you. It also is one of the skills we haven't hit on. Next, you want to grab Insight. You can tell when, people are lying, their motivations, whatever. Clearly, Mr. Beaver is still an excellent judge of character. Maybe he taught you a few things like, hey, if somebody just randomly offers you candy, maybe don't take it. I don't know. Just a crazy thought. You want to also grab History. Mr. Beaver is still the GOAT, even though he is a beaver. Maybe he taught you enough about history of Aslan, Narnia, whatnot. I don't know. This is an out there build. Next, we want to move on to feats. For feats, I'd go Inspiring Leader. Peter's magnificent. We've been over this, You just want to give a quick pep talk. Everybody gets temporary hit points. Everybody wins. Next, I'd grab Gift of the Metallic Dragon from Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. It's great for any sort of support or defenses that you're doing, and clearly, Peter would be a support build. This is easy. Next, I grab Warcaster. Middle of a battle, there's a lot going on. You got to keep your head on a swivel. People be rolling around. Hey, you want to make sure that you keep up your concentration, and you can hit some people with some pretty big spells when they try to run away. And then for your last feat, I would grab either Weapon Master or Fighting Initiate. Listen, I know Weapon Master is totally a waste. I just don't think I can make High King Peter without having Rhindon. It's his signature weapon. It is literally on his throne. You cannot have Peter without Rhindon in Narnia. Just can't happen. Now, for his spells as a sorcerer, he's got a lot. I am not going to say all of them. Here's just some of the highlights that I would have grabbed. I grabbed Mage Armor, Earth Trimmer, Blur, Mirror Image, Flame Blade, Nathir's Mischief, Erupting Earth, Haste, Charm Monster, Sickening Radiance, Wall of Fire and Wall of Light, Fizban's Platinum Shield, Sunbeam, Move Earth, Plane Shift, Earthquake, and Gate. There you go. That's how you play High King Peter as a sorcerer. You're welcome. Now that we have all of the class builds for High King Peter, I thought I would just go ahead and put out Rhindon, the Sword of Peter, as a magic item for your table. Listen, I like making magic items. I know that some of them that I make are not exactly balanced. But do we play this game for the sake of balance? No. So maybe as a DM, you want to put this sword in your campaign. Or maybe as a player, you want to put it on your wish list. Maybe put a pretty please next to it. I don't know. Maybe throw a cookie in there. I don't know. So without further ado, here's the item description. I will have it written out in the description as well. So you don't have to copy it as I say it because it's not a short item description. So here we go. So this is Rhindon. Very rare, requires attunement by a lawful good creature. It has a +2 to damage and attack rolls while you use this magical sword. You also deal an extra 2d6 slashing damage to any giants or wolf-like creatures, whether it be werewolves, direwolves, regular wolves, whatever. You get to do some extra damage. You also, whenever an ally is within 15 feet of you, you can use a bonus action to inspire them. Inspiring them in this way will allow them an extra 1d6 on their next attack or saving throw. You can use this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. So you can use it, inspire Edmund, inspire Lucy, inspire Susan, you're good to go. The reason this works for your fighter build, it's a magic sword. Who doesn't love a magic sword? All right, you get to hit hard. You get to hit harder on wolves and giants, especially if you're going up against them a bunch in your campaign. And also, you get to do something a little bit extra with your bonus action. Who doesn't love a good bonus action thing? Paladins, this also works because now you have something to do with your bonus action. You can inspire some of your friends. Listen, Paladins do not have enough to do with their bonus action. They have their smite spells. That is it. Now you have something to do with your bonus action. And hey, it doesn't hurt to hit something a little bit harder. For your Cleric build, this allows you to still attune to it. You can do heavier damage now if you ever run out of spells, or you just want to be spicy about it and hit somebody with Rhindon. It gives you something to do with your bonus action that Clerics also don't have enough to do. This is an easy way to win with a Cleric. For Sorcerer, you have a little bit less. I'm going to be totally honest with you. But it is still a +2 weapon, so maybe that can counteract your not as good dex or strength score when you're playing a Sorcerer. You can do some more damage to wolves, giants. That's easy. But also, again, bonus action, even if you're not quickening a spell, because you can run out of Sorcerer points, you can still have that support role where you're inspiring your friends. You're making sure, hey, they're staying up, they're hitting, and hey, it's just really coming together a lot with this item. So there we go. That's Rhindon as a magic item. That is High King Peter, because we put respect on his name 4 different ways. Let me know in the comments who you want me to do next.